changing my top. Why? It's day 2 at the Orange Tree Antique Mall near Orlando. So black light. So a lot of people use black light in their displays. A lot of you have black light and like it. Black light can be very helpful in identifying pieces, but these are just crystal. So any light is going to make crystal sparkle. This particular person decided that they wanted to put black light behind crystal. Yeah, it makes it sparkle, but any light would make it sparkle. It is not uranium glass. Notice this piece, which is uranium glass, this particular piece does have a different glow. It fluoresces under black light. So you can see it fluorescing best down here at the bottom. And that piece is a bowl, a yellow Vaseline glass bowl. If I took it off of there, I moved it away from the black light, you're going to see the change of the color. It's heavy. You'll notice that uranium glass is also heavier. So you get it out of the light, and it looks just like a yellow glass bowl, right? $35 is what they want. It is, of course, uranium glass, and now you put it back near the black light, it's going to fluoresce. It fluoresces pretty fast, too. Like, boom, the minute the black light hits it, you can start to see the fluoresce. What's it worth? It's worth a little more than $35. It's probably worth about $42, and it's one of the premier pieces that people look for. People look for uranium glass. People also look for crystal. I like decanters. Decanters do very well, especially if they're crystal, and if they have characteristic patterns like the traditional fan, right, with the diamonds. The fan and diamonds is very popular. Another pattern that's popular is this pattern, which has the starburst here. So we have $32 on this. That's really low for this piece of crystal. I would say that's a $60 piece of crystal. This one's Waterford, so you know, of course, by the brand name. They only want, let's see, they want $75 for the piece of Waterford. That's more like it. Usually this would have 2 more with it. So you'd have scotch and you'd have whiskey and you'd have maybe vodka or another type of liquor. But this piece is a nice piece of Waterford, and $75 is retail. That's about what it's worth. But do they need black light behind them to sparkle? No, they don't. If you want to see the ice bucket here outside of black light, there's no black light there, and you can tell what a nice piece that one is also of crystal. Doesn't really need black light, but I can understand maybe they just wanted to show you more sparkling. But black light will not fluoresce onto crystal just by virtue of it being crystal. I love these mixing bowls because I like a handle and a spout. And when you look at the big geometric form, right, you look at the sharp angle right here, that's the 1950s into the 1960s. This is Fire King. I'll show you the mark. The Fire King mark is here. Made by Anchor Hocking, very collectible and popular. And this green color that they sometimes call jadeite, $69 for that. That's really high. That's really expensive for that. For Fire King, for a piece like that, that piece should be about $50. These are interesting. These are, say that they're jadeite salt and pepper shakers. They're not made by Fire King. They are jadeite. That's, of course, that green color, but they're 2 salts. It's 2 salts, really? Yeah, most people think, oh, you have 2, so it must be salt and pepper. But actually, you can tell by the number of holes on the top. Salt has more holes than pepper because you'd want more salt on your food in this time period than, of course, pepper. So you can see that these are 2 salts. Now, some people wouldn't care and they'd say, hey, I've got 2, so I'm going to call it a salt and pepper shaker set, but they're not. They're actual 2 salts, and there's no pepper here because pepper would have, as I said, fewer holes. This is $29 for the pair, so that's $30 for the pair. That's $15 each, and you're not getting the pepper. You're getting 2 salts. So I would say that's a little bit high too. I'd probably say for 2 salts, they're worth about $12 each, so $24. So you're paying $5 more, and you're not getting the set. So that would bother me. So the reason why Hummels are everywhere and still are everywhere, 2 reasons. After World War II, the GIs came home. They come home with something from Germany, and usually they're Hummel figurines, earthenware ceramic, hand-painted figurines with a light glaze. So they're all hand-done. They're all hand-sculpted. And these are lamps. The lamps were very, very rare. Now, they were rare and they were extremely expensive. These have been rewired sometime after 1975, but the lamps themselves have a mark on the bottom. They're usually the apple tree boy and the apple tree girl. These are not the apple tree boy and the apple tree girl, but they're variations on that theme of the children up in the trees. So here's the Hummel mark. Now remember, they call them Hummel figurines, but they're made by a company named Goebel in Germany, and they hire a nun named Sister Maria Hummel, and Sister Hummel actually has drawings the Goebel company licenses those drawings, gets the ability to utilize these drawings and make the figurines out of them. Okay, so then they sell those figurines to big department stores like Marshall Field's in Chicago. This becomes a big deal. So the American interest in Hummel figurines is big. Everybody poo-poos Hummel figurines. Oh no, nobody wants Hummel figurines anymore, all this and that. The reason why a lot of people say no one wants them is because there's so many of them out there. And if there are so many of them out there, you'll notice there are still collectors for them. And there are people who still collect actively Hummel figurines. The lamps are rare, which is why I mentioned them. For the Hummel lamps, $225 each. So that's $450 for the pair. About 5 years ago, a set of lamps like this would go for about $850. So you see how the market has changed significantly, and a lot of that is sourcing them. They're difficult to source because they're very fragile. The apple is really beautiful and beautifully painted. The fact that the little girl has lost her shoe, that's one of the things that a lot of collectors will look for. In terms of value, these are a little bit low priced at $450. You probably could command, if you're going to resell them, about $550. So they're about $100 too low. So they're a bargain, definitely. Here's the other reason why they're a bargain. You see these shades? These lampshades go on these bulbs, and they are the match. Mid-century modern, really cool rooster glasses. I like those. And then, of course, some more Hummel figurines. Look at the little pigs. Those are cool. And how about the market on Royal Doulton? So this is the balloon seller. Very, very famous. But the market has changed significantly, of course, on Royal Doulton figurines. $65 is what they want here. This is a little bit of a bargain. Value on it today, $75, but about 15 years ago, this same figurine was worth $2,000. Lladro figurines, very collectible, very desirable, made in Spain. This one is El Medico, so the doctor. Notice the what makes it a Lladro important and special. First of all, the color scheme is maintained through the whole Lladro line. You don't really see many, many bright colors with Lladros. They're muted colors. They're usually grays and beiges and blues, and the only details are really just a little hint of color. They're elongated forms, very long, like taffy pull forms. I don't like taffy. I don't like it stuck in my teeth. I don't like the whole taffy experience. I'd rather have a chocolate bar. But taffy pull, like you're pulling taffy, is the way these figures are elongated. This is started by three brothers. The Lladro firm is started by the three brothers in Spain, and they are sold around the world. One of the best places to buy Lladros very inexpensively is the Caribbean, but here you can see the Lladro mark, and it also will have a Disa. You can see that particular name underneath it. It'll say it's made in Spain. It'll say Lladro. The double L in Spanish, of course, is the Y. Many of you are native speakers. I am not. But the double L, so it's Lladro, not Ladro. And this is a typical mark of Lladro. Lladro has other marks. They also have a number that goes along with each figure. That's a mold number. That number relates to knowing what the figurine's going to look like after the fact. Hand painted, hand glazed, and details are what they're looking at. Look at the mustache, look at the beard, look at the little goatee with a little bit of the shaping in the middle of it. Beautiful porcelain, perfect condition. I want to show you what happened here for the dealer. $175 is what this person wanted for it, which is about half price at $175. Couldn't sell it or hasn't sold it, so is putting it on sale at $95. So this is really a bargain. This piece is worth about $285. So let's see if they're all here. First of all, the triangle rack and the billiard balls. So stripes, looks like they're all here. 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, excellent. And the 8 ball will tell you how much it's worth. Okay, they want $42 for it, so that's a deal. With the triangle blonde wood rack, which is new, but these balls are a little bit vintage. What does that mean, a little bit vintage? They're probably 20 years old. This looks like it comes from a gym locker. Oh, they want $32 for the basket from the gym locker. I'd probably leave that here. That's way high. I would say value on the whole set, about $85. So you're going to get them at half price. Very 70s. Harvest gold and avocado green for fondue. Fondue was big then, that idea of eating fondue. I can't eat all that just plain cheese. So I'm not a big fondue fan, but I'm a fan of these colors, and those are from the 1970s. Don't miss them. So we talked about a lot of Corningware in other videos, so you can check those out there, but there's a good amount of Corningware here. McCoy, it's a piece of McCoy, 20 bucks, it's not a deal, but it's a good piece of McCoy. McCoy has different marks. You can see this one. Underneath it, it basically has a mark which is gone at this point, but that's not a very good deal anyway. But what I really want to talk to you about is this globe. And the reason why is that throughout their history, globes do a couple different things, and that impacts their value. First of all, it has a stand, a base, and a stand, so it will turn on its axis, as they always taught us. And the other thing about globes is at a certain time in the late 20th century, they stop putting mountainous areas, the texture onto globes. So the ones that have actual mountains, like this one here, the Rockies, right? The ones that have mountains shown for texture, you can feel the mountains, are some of the more desirable and valuable ones. This one's in pretty good shape. It is not faded. What you look for is the ones that are faded. You want to deter yourself from buying those. And this says $42 for the globe. So that's a good deal. I would say that this globe is probably worth $75 because of the rarity of having the textural mountains. I wear the gloves not because I'm a germaphobe, but because my museum experience has taught me that the oils on your hands can get transferred to objects, attract dirt to those objects, and deteriorate them, which will devalue them. That's why I wear the gloves. More videos to come from Orlando, Florida.